everyone, welcome back to another video by Sir Reef. We're back with the Red Sea REEFER NANO and there's been some exciting updates. We have finally started adding some fish and corals. And as you can see, I got quite a few frags and a pair of clownfish. But before I dive in, as promised, this is the rockscape of the tank. I used the carrot C shapes and also, as you'll see later, I used some of the frag zone rocks to build a smaller structure, as well as to mount some of the corals. Generally, the rocks were quite easy to aquascape, but I think that's because it's a nano tank, and some of the pieces that I got were actually just way too big to be used. But nevertheless, I managed to create some cave ledges, and it wasn't that tough considering that the shapes were all quite unique. Okay, enough with the aquascape, let's talk about corals and fishes. So after my tank's nitrate and ammonia were at 0, I waited till my nitrate were around 10 ppm before I decided to add any livestock. You don't actually need to wait till your nitrates are as low as 10 ppm to add fish, as long as your ammonia and nitrates are 0. But me being me, I want to play it safe before adding any fish at all. So I managed to get these two frostbite snowflake clownfish. After soaking the bags in the tank display to temperature acclimate them, I drip acclimated them for approximately 40 minutes. And the reason why I did that was because I realized the salinity that they were kept in the fish shop were actually much lower than my tank, so I wanted to slowly acclimate them. They did not come as a pair, but I picked them from a batch of around 12 clownfish. And when you're choosing clownfish, there's no one way to pick them, but I generally have a few personal criteria of picking them. So usually I pick the clowns from the same batch, and I try to pick two that are relatively different in sizes so that they establish their genders quickly. I also observe the clowns in the tank and make sure that the larger one is a little more aggressive and the smaller one is a bit more submissive. Of course, all these rules are just a rule of thumb and I don't personally follow them always, but these are the ways that I usually have success. Currently, my clownfish are eating both pellets and frozen mysis, and I try to mix up the diet to provide them with a variety of food. As for corals, as you can see here, I got some very hardy corals to start off with, mainly 5 frags of zoas, a candy cane, and a Duncan. I always had success with these corals as my first few corals, and I usually look at the growth to see if the tank is ready for other more challenging corals like LPS such as torches, hammers, acans, or even SPS. So to add them to the tank, I acclimated them in a measuring jug and used Coral RX as a dip for the pest. I then used a micro pipette to stir the water around and then leave the coral there to soak for about 5 minutes. I'm going to fast forward the video so you can see the end result. So after I'm done, I take a clean jug of tank water and dip the coral to remove any excess dip before putting it into the tank. One thing to note is that for all my tanks, I always start by putting corals on the sand bed because I want to see how the coral react to the light and to have a gauge of how they react to the flow as well. Sometimes even with the PAR readings, you don't really know how the corals will react to the light source. So usually I like to give them a little bit of time to acclimate to the light and move them and glue them to the rockscape after a while. With that, I think I'll end my video right here. Thank you for watching and do consider subscribing to my channel and follow my journey. Till next time, bye!